November 3rd, 1971.
Sam, then Emma,
The daughter.
a sister,
Yeah.
and then my dad. Well, my dad, the mother died when my dad was a baby.
That's what I mean. There were four of them in the
Four,
family.
yeah, and then we married again, and then of course Lawrence and Ruby, the younger sister, were born to the to the next mother.
And Ruby is not. She's not living.
Yeah, she's living, but she
not
lives in
around.
California.
When were you born? I want to get the year.
I was
which
born
you were.
in 99. I'm 72.
Oh, 99, which means that you have lived here
All my life.
all your life.
All my life.
And you were then living through the main part of the time that Sam Carlson was mayor of Jamestown. And so, mainly, did your families visit? Did you have a close family relationship?
Quite close, yes. We visited back and forth. Of course, Uncle Sam's wife was an invalid.
She was ill.
Yeah, and for many, many years, that's why she wasn't able to help him very much in his social contacts and things, because she couldn't do it, you know. But we used to go. I remember as a child going to their home. We were always thrilled to go, you know.
Why was that?
Oh, because they were so nice.
Well, this is what I was wondering. What is the thing that many people who speak of him say he was kind and pleasant? That is, sometimes when you're a little child, you go to visit aunts and uncles, you're just bored. Now, this wasn't the case.
No.
Did they have toys?
Of course, their son was just a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
And they always were so nice to us. I mean, they acted so... Uncle Sam always did, anyways, act so genuinely interested in us.
And even little children?
Even when we were children. He was a very family
He was.
type man, yes. And he... I was just thinking, we're kind of a boisterous family, really. We laugh and talk and kind of outgoing, you know. And but my dad and Sam were much more reserved. And now Lawrence used to come home from college, and he and my dad used to love to get into an argument. They'd just take opposite sides just to argue, you know. And they loved it, and they used to get pretty noisy sometimes. But I don't remember. I've been just thinking about that. I never remember Uncle Sam as raising his voice.
Even in arguments or merriment, but he was always good humored.
Yeah, he was very gentle and soft-spoken, really, and very, he always gave me the impression of being very statesman-like.
A certain
dignified,
dignity
yes.
about him. Well, now, like you say, these arguments, this is a question I had written down. He had very definite ideas about how to run the government. Now, did they argue some of these things?
Well, they must have.
Politics, but you can't remember.
They must have, but as a child, I don't remember that. And as I say, my dad and Uncle Sam they undoubtedly talk things over, but not in an argumentative way, more just discussing.
Yes. Well, now, along in the 1920s, when you were grown up and married and maybe noticing more things about the city and so forth, and Sam was advocating the municipal milk plant and all these municipal ownership schemes. Did this meet with did the family ever argue with him about this specifically?
Or no, I don't think so. I think that they all agreed with him, and I think that this had been evidently from his youth, from his childhood even, he had seen the need for these things. Well, because in school, I know that in his autobiography, for instance, you know how he says he noticed that he hated the drinking water out of a pail, and he hated the toilets, outhouses, the lack of facilities, and so I think that this it was in his mind all the time.
And your family generally.
Oh yes, I'm sure they all agreed with him.
They didn't feel it was too radical,
I don't think so.
Socialistic, even government ownership of things.
I think that they admired him very much for his stand on things. I think so.
Did Did you know any of his acquaintances that he apparently was friendly with, this young man who had informed when he apparently formulated these ideas, this reading? Well, if you were personally acquainted with any of them, I'm trying to think if I...
Trying to think of any of these older... Crawcroft.
Yes, I've come across his name, Ernest Cockcroft.
What about Lene? Was he one of the...
Well, would it be Oscar Lene?
Oscar Lene.
Was he? I
think so.
He may have been, but his name in clubs or something. Now, there was this club...
The Norden Club.
The Norden.
Where they were...
Now, was that a debate?
No, that was a purely social
club. Is that still in existence?
I think maybe it is.
Because they belong to this Saturday night club.
Yeah.
This I've come across.
That would be more of a debate.
But I can't find any old records, that is, specific things they talked about. Apparently Cockcroft was very active in that, and other leaders in the city. But the Norden Club was one of the clubs that Sam was active in.
Yes, they were active in that. But of course he would be, but there again, he couldn't be very active because of Aunt Frida wasn't well. And,
yes, so they actually had very little social life in their home, aside from
they had
family.
mostly family and close friends in their home, I think.
Yes.
She wasn't, bedridden really.
Oh.
Not all the time.
No.
She was in her late years, but she was a very gracious lady and a lovely lady.
Well, now, just thinking about the present political campaign, and to think about the recent news that came to mind, did Sam find himself not being able to spend much time at home? That is, if his wife was not well, and yet he was busy in the city all the time, like present-day politicians say they never get a chance to see their wives.
Oh, but I don't think he ever was that. I mean, of course he was busy, but I think they had a home life anyway.
Yes.
More than this day politicians.
Possibly, but there was less call on their time.
Just because he was. This is what he liked. It was just home and
he did. That is, given a choice on a Saturday evening rather than going to a club or talking to old friends, he would be at home.
Because he wasn't that, forceful he was, because he had to be, but, I mean, not aggressively.
He was. And you don't feel that he was, even when, like, in front of city council, when he was proposing these things, he must have had some...
I'd say he was forceful, I think, but I think in a very dignified way. I don't think he would ever, rant and...
No. Really get out of hand or emotional. Was he emotional?
No.
That is, did you ever see him angry?
No, I don't. That's what I say. I don't think I ever saw him
lose his temper
or raise his voice. My whole remembrance of him is being very gentle, and I meet him on late years when he got so he couldn't see very well, and we would always make a point of taking hold of him and speaking to him, and he was always so happy when we did. Marion, he'd say, how nice to talk to you.
So he was, among the people you have known, he was unusual.
Yes, I think so.
This is the impression I get from anyone who speaks of him.
Yes.
What about, again, back to political campaigns now, as I've read the paper, some of them were kind of bitter. That is, 1927 when Larson defeated him.
Yeah.
Did this affect him or affect the family? Did they feel unhappy in his life or his relationship or him?
Yes, we were all sorry because he had been. He was so. We always felt that he just couldn't be bribed.
No.
And he was strictly honorable.
Yeah.
And he retired after all those years with no wealth.
No, he really didn't gain anything financially, so obviously he wasn't taking any money for.
He wasn't doing anything for his own betterment.
His own betterment, yes. Now, where did they live most of the time?
On Maple Street.
In Jamestown.
In Jamestown.
And was this a large house or small?
No, it's just back of the Rogers School, on Maple Street.
On Maple Street.
It's a nice home. It was a stone bottom and shingle top, sort of a
2-story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they lived there the whole time.
Yeah, they lived there
But he
until
was there.
until late afterwards, and they bought their home in Lakewood.
Yes, I realized they lived in Lakewood when he died. And then they had the one son.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was he like? Not that he isn't part of my paper, but just out of curiosity.
Oh, yeah.
He
Well,
was your
he was a strange boy because he had a terrible time passing spelling in school. And still he became an engineer, an electrical engineer, and did very well, and was very brilliant, really. But we always thought that was so funny that he couldn't manage to spell right.
but I assume
nowadays you wouldn't think much of it because nobody knows how to spell anymore. But we used to.
Yeah.
And this was my best subject in school. I could spell, and I still can. I think I can see a misspelled word a mile away.
but he must have been strong in math and science all through school.
Yes.
But this was a real, apparently it was of some concern, since you remember.
I was kind of worried about it.
Yes. Was his father worried?
No, if he was, I
never heard anything like that.
I know that he wasn't very happy about it because I can remember that. They were very disappointed, I think that,
Yes, there's some.
And then he was so young, of course, they didn't see the other part developing, I don't suppose.
In grade school and high school, yes, it just looked very bad, and now you realize, looking back over his whole career, that he was very successful and he had lots of ability.
Yes.
Was he like his father?
Yes, a lot. Very much like him.
In the way they spoke, or the way
he looked a lot like him, and yes, he was sort of that gentle, soft-spoken acting too.
Well, maybe his mother this type, or was she a little more?
No, she was
vivacious, or
no. She was very quiet too.
About logical.
Yeah.
Well, now thinking back specifically, what were some of the holidays? Say, some families always spend 4th of July together or something. Were there any specific holidays that the whole Carlson clan got together?
No, mainly, like all families, it gotten so that each one was taking care of their own, we all come to that.
Yeah.
And, but we did visit back and forth, Sunday afternoons. I know we used to go to Uncle Charlie's house too, and to Uncle Sam's, and then they would probably visit us on Sunday afternoon like that, or then once in a while they would have us, come for dinner.
Yeah.
And of course they would come back because Aunt Frida was able to do that. So.
She was, but she was able to entertain small dinners.
Small, yeah. And everything was always just beautiful, They had nice things and
Well, now, where did he get, not that he needed a lot of money for a nice household, but he worked at a furniture factory way back.
Yeah.
He and his brother owned
they
started this place.
I'm just going to
All right.
they were.
Did he have a business of any kind?
Oh, he had that Swedish newspaper,
Yes, well, was this an income? Do you think he got much income from that? He was the publisher or something of the Swedish newspaper.
Yes, he had
an
income
permit. So this was, and then they did pay the mayor something, but very little compared, as I recall, it was something like $100 or.
Yeah, it was very little.
Very little. But they always had enough means. This is what I was getting around to, that they had nice
Yeah.
Dishes.
They had nice
silver,
home.
and their
Nice.
home furnishing.
Furnished nice.
But
it was then, and really was a very beautiful home.
in his time, he didn't build it. This is
No, I don't
probably
think so.
what he thought when he got here. Yes. Where was his family home? That is his father.
Down on Allen Street.
The whole family grew up there.
Yeah.
And then now his father stayed alive for quite a long time. And then his stepmother, that is Dee Lawrence's mother, lived a comparatively long time also.
Yeah.
She was the mother of the family.
Yeah.
So she came into the
Yeah.
family when
Yeah.
they were very young.
Yes, when they were small children. She was the only mother they really
Knew very well.
Uh-huh.
Yes, but she was a Swedish girl.
Yeah.
She was Swedish all the way through.
Oh, yes. It was Swedish, all right.
Yes, well, let me get more intimate details. I thought of something else. Now, speaking of his son Wendell, he and Wendell got along real well, you think?
I
That
think
is,
so.
you never remember hearing him or Wendell say, oh, Dad scolded me today.
No, I don't. They seem to always very, calm
no problem.
and no
Yes.
problems.
What would you say were his real strong abilities, in real terms, the things he could do the best, as you remember?
Well, I'd say that he, like my dad, they were both really self-made. They were self-taught because they had very little formal schooling, and all that they knew, they learned themselves by reading and studying all the time. And they weren't either of them very good with their hands. My son is the same way, and he's very much like
The family,
the Carlson.
That he's very good with his head.
Yeah.
Speaks well, I suppose. This is a characteristic of them.
Yeah.
But also they can speak
Very
public
good.
speaking, debating, speeches.
But I don't imagine that they were very. Now, like Uncle Sam, I would say that he was happier in that publishing that newspaper than he ever would have been working in the furniture factory.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison. That's right. But he did apparently work in the furniture
Oh yes,
factory.
they did. Well, my dad did too. Now I compare the two of them were quite a lot alike in the things that they did and liked,
Yeah.
And well, my dad didn't ever go to be as noted or important as Uncle Sam did, but.
Well, he held a state office
Yes,
among
he
his
did.
workers.
Yeah,
So, being in the post office,
Yeah.
he was precluded from being in politics, I assume. Wasn't
Yeah,
he?
that was civil service.
Yes, that's what I mean. He couldn't take a
But he used to be very active in, like KFP. I don't know whether Uncle Sam belonged to any of those organizations or not.
I don't know either. I don't think so. And the lodge.
But that used to be quite a strong organization.
Oh, it did.
And my dad he held all the offices all the way through, the chairs, and they used to always say that he could talk.